Hey brother, are you a shy and introverted man who believes he lacks charisma and charm? This makes watching the video until the end the most important thing you can do today. Because this video will help you restore your manly magnetism, which has been purposefully destroyed from you by the powers that be. It will help you recover your social life and become the fascinating, charming guy you've always desired to be. If you're like the majority of men, you're probably bland, stringy, and unappealing. There's a good chance that your life isn't particularly exciting. Maybe all you do all day is binge-watch movies and TV series, eat junk food, complain about how unfair life is, and complain about how bad everything is, all while scrolling through social media, commenting on celebrities, enjoying their best lives, and generally wasting time. You're probably not fit, suffer from erectile dysfunction, and have a boring life. And you are not alone. My life used to be just like this. But then I knew I needed to defeat a monster at the heart of all these unhealthy habits and uninteresting lifestyles. And that monster was my severe addiction to PMO. The unfortunate reality of today's world is that the majority of the men you meet on the street are PMO addicts. Most of your buddies are PMO junkies, so it's safe to say that the pornographic content industry has us by the balls. No pun intended. You might assume there's nothing unusual about the PMO epidemic. After all, you only fap approximately 4 times a week. The difficulty is that if everyone continues to fap at this rate, it becomes increasingly difficult to find inherently magnetic men. Most men nowadays are depleted of the underlying vigor that is their natural magnetic element, as the devil revealed to Napoleon Hill in his 1938 book, Outwitting the Devil. Constant ejaculation will rob a man of his magnetic qualities. It depletes the magnetic energy, which is the root of an attractive and pleasing personality. It steals the spark from his eyes and creates dissonance in his tone of speech. It increases his level of fear and strips him of his confidence. It deprives him of the fighting abilities required for self-defense in any situation. It makes him a lazy procrastinator. And it makes him a quitter, not a winner. This makes the solution incredibly straightforward. When you begin practicing semen retention or nofap, you will stand out like a sore thumb. Don't you believe me? Let me tell you the anecdote of a friend who has never pummeled in his life. Yeah, I understand. Strange, right? What occurred was that when I was 14, I was unfortunate to be introduced to mowing, but my friend did not have the same bad luck. While I was busily draining my life force into tissue for much of my adult life, he was simply living his life without this devilish act. We began living together in our 20s, and we do almost everything together now. At the time, I was still heavily hooked to mowing, and my friend had no idea what it meant or how it was a modern plague on the race of males. While we were living together, I observed something I couldn't quite put my finger on. He had a magnetic personality. Men, women, strangers, people he knew, people he met the day before, people he worked with, even the barrister at our coffee shop all gravitated towards him. While I had evolved into a guy who hated social situations, my pal could make acquaintances effortlessly. While I would read every book on charisma, watch every YouTube video on how to be attractive and have a charming demeanor, and measure everything I said in social encounters to come across as a well-spoken guy, I would still fail to impress anyone. My friend gained friends easy. And it wasn't something extraordinary. After all, he was an introvert like me who didn't particularly love getting out. However, when he does go out and mingle with others, they find him naturally interesting. There was something about him that I knew I was missing at the moment. In retrospect, I think I now understand why my friend had such a captivating personality. Because when I began practicing semen retention, I saw 3 separate types of magnets that I had somehow developed. Number 1, the unmistakable magnetism of women's attraction. The extreme extremities of the masculine and feminine poles are magnetically attracted to each other, just as the south and north poles of a magnet are. As a guy, your semen is your vital force, and I mean that in the literal sense. Your semen contains vitamin C, B12, ascorbic acid, calcium, citric acid, fructose, lactic acid, magnesium, a lot of zinc, potassium, salt, fat, and hundreds of different proteins. Your semen contains a lot of energy and nutrients that are necessary for reproduction. Whenever you're on semen retention or nofap, some of these nutrients and energy are diverted back into your body, making you look more luminous. This is in the literal nutrient composition of your semen and what it does for you when you accumulate it. In terms of hormones, your manly hormone, testosterone becomes more active, as do your androgen receptors. The androgen receptor increase allows your body to make better use of your elevated testosterone levels. As a result, your male characteristics are enhanced. Women on the other side of the extreme feminine pole will notice these manly characteristics and be drawn to you. Nature is unconsciously telling these ladies, look, here's an exceptionally fertile male.
There's something different about him.
When you retain, you are working on a higher level of being as a man. Your interactions with women at this period are characterized by confidence, relaxation, and a lack of neediness. You're full of confidence, and you're probably working for your life objectives, which makes your life more exciting. Women are naturally attracted to these attributes in guys. This is one of the most impressive semen retention magnetism benefits you will ever witness, and it appears in subtle ways. You may notice that these women are maintaining eye contact with you or simply approaching you and attempting to initiate discussions with you. Number 2, the magnetism of men. As I already stated, most guys these days are pumping like crazy. Therefore, if you practice retention, you stand out like a sore thumb. When you start retaining, the men in your life will love spending time with you more, and men you don't know see you on the street and offer you a nod of appreciation for being a macho man. This occurs because when you begin retaining, your energy changes from what most people are accustomed to. This is what people saw in my friend, and why most men are pulled to him. And this is what I later appreciated as I started retaining. Another thing I noticed when I began retaining, and what I would argue was holding me back in my relationships with other men at the time, was my energy levels. Let me explain. When I was a PMO addict, my life and mind were constantly preoccupied with planning my next PMO session. No matter where I was or who I was with, I was never fully present in the moment because I was always thinking about my next PMO session. My head was so sexualized that I was constantly eyeing the strange lady strolling beside us. So, when I was conversing with my fellow males, I was rarely enjoying the talk or their company. So I wasn't listening. And since I wasn't listening, I wasn't developing any relationship with anyone. Aside from that, I was too exhausted to develop serious friendships with the guys I met. Making friends with men used to be a source of mental tiredness for me as a PMO junkie. I found it difficult to message, call, or communicate with individuals. And, to be honest, staying in touch with individuals and maintaining connections takes effort. I was busy jerking this energy into the tissue. I used to excuse this way of life in my head by saying things like, well, people ain't shit anyway. Well, I don't need a large group of friends. I'm an introvert. So what's the point? And every other excuse I can think of for not having a good social life. In hindsight, this was exactly what my friend did. He had the energy, the will, and the desire to be in touch and connected. When I started retaining, I discovered that I had more energy and a strong want to connect with others. When the PMO goggles came off, I understood that if I didn't connect, I'd be lonely. This shift was noticeable because as I began retaining, I actually began caring about individuals and stopped thinking about pixels on the screen. And I believe that people unconsciously sense your want to connect with them and respond positively to it. This is clear in how men react to me at the gym, among my male friends, and with strangers I've never met before. People picked up on the new energy and began to gravitate towards me. At work, I became the man who people hung on every word he said, and as a result of my increased attention, others began to pay attention to me as well. This gets me to the third kind of magnetism that you'll encounter while retaining. The not-so-sexual attraction of the women in your life. Because we live in a highly sexualized society, we believe that any contacts with females we are not related to must be sexual. And here is your PMO-addicted brain in action. So, when you begin to retain and desexualize your thinking, you are a breath of fresh air to women because the bulk of men in their lives regard them as objects to be used for sex. And when this happens, there is a significant change in how these women connect with you. You may discover that they disclose themselves to you in a much deeper way and have a much greater level of trust in you. So, I challenge you to try no-fap or retention for 2 weeks and then come back and comment on this video about your experience. And once the sexual energy has built up, you must understand how to transform it in order to get the most out of your semen retention journey. I have created a free no-fap guide which will help you get started on this journey. Click the link in the description below to grab a copy. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. If you found this video helpful, please destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos like this. And if you didn't find this video useful, thank you for watching so long. And I will see you all at the next one.